On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Seems like the harder they push, the more they push, the more people are starting to wake up to the absolute atrocities that are going on. Q is just, again, an avalanche of posts. We've got a lot of great information. There's some major stuff that he's trying to bring to our attention. I think always in his somewhat subtle fashion. I assume Q's a he. I think it's a lot of people. But anyway, and we've got a number of other stories that he's, again, painting a picture with somewhat of a broad brush. But again, a lot of things are happening from that broad brush perspective. If you look at the cities, the fires, the places where all this stuff is happening, and how it's being managed or really mismanaged. And so a lot is going on. And let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any more time. Where we left off was post 4666, the 666, huh? And right here, KUTV 2 News, as I believe it's a Seattle or Eastern Washington TV thing. But arson, right now, there are 14 confirmed fire spots, all started between 1 and 5 a.m. Saturday morning. These were intentionally set fires, not caused by dragging chains or abandoned campfires, etc. This is the U.S. Forest Service that has come to this conclusion. So again, we've got all sorts of crazy fires. If you see something, say something. This is one of those places where being on the lookout is going to save you a lot of harm, or will save you a lot of property damage, save you harm and your neighbors and friends. And we've got examples of this playing out in a number of places. So obviously you can see this is a good little story here. This one kind of blew my mind. So Q is sharing a picture with us, and I don't know if your eyes are going to do what my eyes did. The first thing I focused on was this area over here on the left, in the left center. It was just like, wow, look at that. Oh my God, those are some major fires. And then I kind of scanned out and said, holy crap, all of these things are fires. Look at all these freaking fires. And this is what, Oregon and then Washington State up here. We don't even have California. This is just Oregon and Washington. Look at how many fires are going on right now. This is insanity. So he's just trying to point out the obvious. Now, this one's interesting in a few ways. And again, I'm not 100% sure how to read this. I'm guessing the Portland FBI is maybe somewhat in the loop, or to maybe give them credit, maybe because of so much stuff that's happening that people are maybe making a lot of phone calls to say, hey, I think I see somebody. Hey, I think my neighbor's guilty, whatever the case is. But Portland's basically saying, hey, man, law enforcement agencies have been receiving reports that extremists are responsible for setting wildfires in Oregon. With our state and local partners, the FBI has investigated several such reports and found them to be untrue. Underlined. He continues, conspiracy theories and misinformation take valuable resources away from local fire and police agencies working around the clock to bring these fires under control. Please help our entire community by only sharing validated information from official sources. So there seems to be a try not to tell us anything because we're kind of busy doing whatever we're doing. And so to me, that's got a very strange feel to it. It really, to me, kind of feels like the FBI is saying, hey, just leave us alone. Let us take care of this, which I don't know if anybody in Oregon trusts any of their official capacities. But what's funny is they said, well, unless it comes from a validated source or an official source. So I don't know. Eastern Washington woman arrested for starting fires while crews work to fix a fallen power line. So this is in Spokane, Washington. Woman got busted, was doing some stuff. People made some phone calls. Next thing you know, this Camelo girl was identified in a surveillance video and confirmed to be the suspect by witnesses. And a lighter and burnt paper was found in her pockets. I mean, everything that would point that she's guilty. For some reason, Q decided to share another story for the same person. So again, it's the same person, this Mohandra, they put the name down here, but it's the Spokane lady, Camelo. So I don't know why they share her name twice. But in this case, man arrested on arson allegations and wildfire west of Eugene, deputies say. So a 44-year-old man was arrested Tuesday on suspicion of arson and wildfires that had burned nearly 400 acres and prompted evacuations west of Eugene. Or what about this one? Man seen starting fires at Oregon State Park, fire chief says. We had an individual state park site along Highway 58, one of the few travel corridors in Oregon. And some guy decides he wants to start trying to set a fire. So the nation at the fire preparedness level of 5, a lot of stuff's going on. So again, several large wildfires. We're finding all these good Samaritans extinguished this fire in this particular case. But this guy apparently, he had, Peterson said, a middle-aged man with arm tattoos was seen lighting 2 fires in the bushes as you turn towards the dam. So more examples of people shutting things down. How about this? Woman accused of intentionally starting fires on Highway 101 was arrested. She's a looker, isn't she? Eesh. Salinas, California. Yeah, this Monterey County District Attorney Office tells KION that they have no information or evidence suggesting that a woman accused of intentionally starting fires of 101 and has connections to Antifa, supposedly. But again, this lady's gotten caught. She is, the suspect identified as 37-year-old Anita Esquivel is booked into the Monterey County Jail for arson. Bye, sweetheart. You're not going to be getting out of jail for a very long time. Post 4669, we've got a couple posts here, one from Twitter and one from Newsweek. So we've got another one. Great job, Trooper Moorfield. A pedestrian decided to light the grass at SR 512 and SR 7. Citizens observed and alerted 911 or 911 after a short foot chase, one in custody and the other is in jail. So again, another fire that was set by mischievous, bad people. Court rules. Now, this is weird. Now, first off, this kind of is a strange thing because I feel like we're shifting directions, or at least I want to bring a little concern or thought to this, because just because Q posts it, I don't just assume that everything's on the up and up. We've got a lot of people that are trying to get into our personal background, and I'm very fond of freedom. So even when we try to say there's a reason to break laws, I'm still not for it, even when we're in the middle of the crazy stuff we're in. Just because a few criminals are getting away with something, I don't think the rest of us should lose our rights just so we can catch a couple people. Government never gives rights back once we agree to give them up. Never. They just don't. That's just how government works. So again, painting the picture of how all these horrible things are going on, and then they come out with this story. Court rules, defendant must disclose phone password to police and prosecution in the first ruling of its kind in the state. Now, big shock, this is Oregon. So again, I think Q is painting us or pointing us to the fact that Oregon is doing one more extremely bad thing, taking away rights from people, taking away constitutional rights. Now, long story short, out of all the things that can happen, passwords and getting into a phone, getting in with your fingerprint, all these kinds of things, the one thing that the judges kind of have unanimously agreed on is that if I use a fingerprint, if I make somebody put their fingerprint on the phone, or possibly even facial recognition, right? Stick the phone in front of their face so it'll open up, which again is a stupid reason to have facial recognition as a lock on your phone. It's a very bad idea. Anyway, but the fact is, if you're using biometrics or something like that, it doesn't require you to mentally reveal anything. It's something that's a physical appearance or a physical fact about yourself. So your fingerprint or whatever, I can take your finger and stick it on a thing, and that's it. And when you get arrested, you have to give up your fingerprints anyway, and they take pictures of you. So those things are kind of already there. So there's judges that suspect or say that going in that path, a little more on the legal side. But if I've got to pull something out of my brain, if I've got to think something and then tell you that so you can punch in those numbers, no, that's like taking the fifth. I am not giving you evidence of what I have potentially done. Now, in this case, and the way they justify it is this was a person that was selling methamphetamine. Not okay, certainly a bad criminal, and she had all sorts of information on her phone. Now, I know for a fact they have technology that can break that phone and crack it. So go ahead and get your court order to do that, but do not force somebody to give up their password. And first off, I'd be like, I'm not going to. F you. I'm not going to. I take the fifth. I don't know what it is. I forgot. Oh, shucks. I used to know it. All this stress has made me forget. I mean, that's stupid. And what are they going to do? Put you in jail longer? That's silly. But again, this is the direction that Oregon is going. We got to wake up, people, to see what is going on. Oregon, California, and Washington, New York, Chicago. These are places that are trying to initiate the nationwide norm. Now, I think we're fighting it, but these are the places where the norm is trying to be pushed out to all the other locations. We cannot be okay with this. Never, never, never. Post 4670, we've got a very interesting post. Again, a bunch of these posts I think are fascinating. One thing that's interesting, and at first I saw this and I'm like, why is Q promoting an app? That instantly, I'm suspicious. I don't trust anything. I don't even, I don't fully trust just because it showed up on Q. I don't just be like, okay, everything's good. No, instantly I'm like, why are they promoting this app? And at first I'm like, okay, maybe this is the thing that's going to replace Twitter. And I downloaded it. And I Went to install it, and then I opened it up, and it started asking me all sorts of questions that I was not in the mood to give. And I said, okay, whatever the case is, I am not using this app. Well, then I read further. Now let's talk about this. One thing that's very funny. I use Signal every day, says Edward Snowden, which, good, bad, however you see him. There's a couple ways to see that. But this one caught my attention. Jack Dorsey. What? This isn't your app. I trust Signal because it's well built, but more importantly, because of how it's built. Open source, peer-reviewed, and funded entirely by grants and donations. A refreshing model for how critical services should be built. Well, thank you, Jack Dorsey, king of censorship. If you like it, that freaks me out even more. So we got some other people here that I don't particularly care about. Yada, yada, yada. The important thing to really kind of note, one, the formation of this app was a big deal. But two, Twitter supposedly owns Signal app. Back in November of 2011, Whisper Systems announced that it had been acquired by Twitter. So no wonder Jack Dorsey likes it. Now, what's funny about this app is Signal, Twitter, TikTok. These apps kind of are being used in sort of a weird way, and people are starting to notice that. And I think we've got a slide coming up here in a second that shows how the download frequencies have changed around the riots, around George Floyd, and around what's happening, especially right now. This is the new TikTok. This is the new app that is being used for these people to do these private communications. And that's what this app is meant to be for, is private encrypted communications. Now, I'm willing to bet everything that I've got that since Q's sharing it with us, he's acknowledging one very important thing, that they know about this. They already know how to break that decryption or encryption or whatever. And there's some amazing tools that are out there. And I'm reasonably sure that is exactly what they're focused on. So they probably have a very good idea about what is being organized, how, and what they're using. And a reminder to everybody, this Washington, D.C. protest starts next week, like next Wednesday or something like that. All these people are going out to D.C. to do this 50-day sit-in to try to get Trump out of office. That all starts, and some people are speculating that maybe the Portland riots are starting to chill a little because a lot of these people are already making the journey across country to get to Washington, D.C. So the next week, for sure, is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. And obviously, this app is going to play a part in that whole movement. 4671, another interesting post. Remember when I said, wake me when there are indictments and or arrests? Well, a solid DOJ source just told me to set my alarm clock. I said, I'll believe it when I see it. Now, when you dig into this tweet, there's everybody and their mother's like, when? Give me a hint, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to tell you, silly people. That's not how it's going to play. But Kevin Cork, basically covers it really well. And what's coming, I think we get a hint from Q here coming up in a few more posts of who these two people might be. And I don't know. Again, I'm kind of sending this one to the Anons because there's a weird pattern that exists within these two posts. And I kind of think he's given us a hint as to what this slide is in reference to. So we're going to see how that one all plays out. Post 4672, got this wonderful from Jack. Got to love him. Signal became one of the top most downloaded social apps in iOS yesterday for the first time, according to the data from App Annie. So again, this app has become a very popular app. Signal app became one of the top most downloaded social apps, yada, yada. Do you think it's coordinated? Of course, Q is pulling this out. Analyze downloads, pre-protests, or the riots, as we really know them as, or start and then the 60 up to the 60 protests or riots. Do you notice how this app really seems to be working? And then now they're pointing out think about the fires, because you can get in group chats and all this stuff, and they can encrypted organized discussions about how they can cause more chaos. Antifa is all about anarchy. Anarchy is all about lack of control or essentially enhanced chaos. That is exactly what is happening. They may be anti-fascist, but they're also anti-civilization. They're all about absolute anarchy, total crazy, survival to whoever. Whoever's got the biggest muscles is going to be the most powerful person on the block. But what's interesting, again, is the Signal downloads. This is the App Annie thing they were talking about. We've got October 2019 right in here, which really I think is when a lot of the protests kind of started, right? And then the COVID kind of kicked in, dropped it down to around January 2020. And then it's kind of spiked back up through the protests and kind of chilled out a little bit, right? And then bam, hugely ramping up, hugely popular now, hugely popular before we go into this Washington, D.C. things. So again, something else to keep tabs on. This app is becoming exceptionally popular and is certainly being used by the other side. Post 4673. This one's fun as well. A lot of great gold posts over the last 24 hours. Antifa.com redirects to Biden's donation page, similar to BLM going to the Democratic National Convention. I wanted to demonstrate this to you. So we're going to go to a blank tab here and go Antifa.com. And it goes straight to JoeBiden.com. Antifa and Joe Biden are the same thing. So when you think about, does he support the violence in the streets? Does he support the burning? Does he support the antagonizing regular citizens sitting in front of restaurants? Does he approve of the antagonizing of old people and the physical assaults and the murder of Trump supporters on the streets? Yeah, he does, because Antifa.com equals JoeBiden.com. Isn't that interesting? Now, these are the two posts where I think maybe we're getting a hint as to what's coming, what's going on, or who's in trouble. Now, you see the name James Comey, and it's shared a bunch of times. It's shared, and if you do it, it's by 5, so you got 5 times, and then there's 10 groups. So it's 5 by 10, or 50. Now, the first thing that popped into my head is that class 1 through 99, maybe he is 50. Maybe class 50 is specifically where Comey falls in. That was my first guess. I went digging, couldn't find any information. I'm putting this out to the Anons. Hopefully you guys can figure out some pattern on this, because he repeats a similar pattern with the other person, I think, who is now looking to be in trouble. John Brennan. As you can see, John Brennan was used a bunch of times, except not groups of 5, it's groups of 4. And it's not 10 times in this case, it's 12. So it's 4 by 12. That's 48. So is it possible that John Brennan's 48 on the 1 through 99 class and Comey's 50? Maybe. I don't know. This is what I'm putting out to you guys, because I think that's a very interesting breakdown. A 5 by 10 or 50, which is the number of states, and a 4 by 12 or 48, which, again, not sure how those play out. But these are very auspicious, probably, posts that Q has done. And again, I'm wondering if this ties back to the alarm clock. And would these not be huge arrests? And ones that I actually think are legit and probably possible. I mean, Brennan's going to be a bit more of the surprise because he was head of the CIA, which is, wow, that would be awesome to see that happen. But Comey, he's toast. Comey's toast. He's really tall toast, but he's toast for sure. So we'll see how that plays out. 4676, got another great Twitter post here. And yeah, painfully obvious, maybe. Yeah, here we are again out here. And where's this? I don't know where Multnomah County is, but needless to say, we're at a lot, Colorado possibly. We're at a loss for words. Deputies and this fire department responded to a small brush fire at 1700 block of Northeast Brower Road in Corbett at 3:52. Neighbors heard pops and saw 6-foot flames in the forest. Using a shovel and water, they were able to put it out. Deputies found fireworks. You think this stuff's happening intentionally? And of course, fireworks. I mean, first off, fireworks are very legal, I know, in Washington State. You can buy them at a lot of the Native American reservations. I've used to do that all the time. I'm assuming Oregon's the same way. So not a surprise that this is their method of, MO, their method of operandus, whatever. Got another example here of an individual, 4677. So this lady, Kat, who unfortunately English is not her best, or at least grammar, but some of you still think that we're not being under attack. Poor thing. I found this individual walking on my property as I was driving in. All he had were some matches in his hands, walked him out of my property at gunpoint, and then when he got to some asphalt ground on the main road, made him lie down while the cops arrived. Had my husband been here, he would have been dead. He has got multiple warrants, one of them being assaulting a police officer. Now, if this is in Oregon, Wheeler will let him out probably tomorrow because, shoot, all he's done is assaulted a cop. What? So anyway, this guy's in bad shape, has some matches, apparently not a lot of clothing. It must have been hot that day. But yeah, just another example of these people that are running around causing problems in society. This isn't the Trump supporters that are running around starting fires. This isn't Trump supporters that are walking up to people having dinner and messing with them. This isn't Trump supporters that are harassing people on the streets. This isn't Trump supporters that are looting and stealing. This is people on the left. This is Antifa. This is a bad group of people. And this essentially equals to Joe Biden. Antifa equals Joe Biden or Biden-Harris. So another way to look at this is all the violence and all the problems have to do with Biden and Harris. Just saying because it's Antifa, and if Biden and Harris redirects when you type in antifa.com, I don't know, I'm assuming that they take great pride in the fact that they are Antifa. Interesting how it plays out. Post 4678. Q, I'm in Oregon City, Clackamas County. I love that city, or that county. Level 2 evacuation. Terrified. Fires raging everywhere. I've been posting to you here for about 2 weeks about these fires. It is real. The rednecks around me are on alert. The others are completely brainwashed. There is no hope for them. Their eyeballs are no longer connected to their brains. Like 90% of people are hopelessly brainwashed by the media. Stay safe. Be vigilant. Q. Now they're pointing out this wonderful gentleman here. That's such a great smile. He actually looks just like a dude I work with. It's a little freaky. But anywho, born in 67, so it makes him probably about almost 50, 52 probably, something like that. I'm doing bad math. 53, there we go. He's white, 5'8", and he weighs 200 pounds. Pudgy little bastard. Or he's super buff. Either way, that's pretty heavy for 5'8". Needless to say, he's busted for arson too. There's a $10,000 bail, and he's got some probation violation, felon, possession of body armor, and probation violation as well. Oh, methane too. Methamphetamine, probably PCS meth. Anyway, so not a good guy. And yeah, gee whiz, here he is getting busted for arson as well. Things are not looking good for the left. Or Joe Biden, who is the Antifa/violent protester himself. He's the leader of the pack, I guess. 4679, Justin Weaver. Oh, arson is extremism for sure. So Justin Weaver here. Never in my life did I think I would witness a domestic terrorism attack, especially right behind my house. We heard fireworks, walked out and saw a giant flash, and then a whole house engulfed in flames. A random car fire bombed it on Jennings, and I pray the family got out. Trying to keep my wife and daughter calm while quickly loading what we could find to escape was hard. Watching suspicious cars full of people slowly driving up and down the street while trying to load, hoping nothing is thrown at us, is terrifying. I hope no one has to go through this, and whosoever is doing this, just stop. Do you really want to murder innocent families? Everyone, keep your head on a swivel. Watch your street, neighbors, and most importantly, protect your families and everyone you can. Where we go one, we go all. This is what this is all about, folks. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your eyes open. If you see something, say something. Even if it's maybe to them, to a distance. I mean, if you're by yourself, don't put yourself in danger. Make that phone call, 911. Try to video it if you can do it without getting caught. Again, don't try to aggravate the situation unless you're prepared for aggravation. Again, that's not necessarily the way to go. But we're in kind of a scary time right now, and people need to consider what is going on. I want to do a quick check and see if we've got any fresh posts. And no, Justin Weaver is the finally post. So I want to remember, folks, there's a lot going on. Joe Biden/Antifa/Kamala Harris are working to cause more chaos. Signal app is one of the things that they're using right now to do this. I'm reasonably sure the feds or CIA or whoever we can trust, the white hats, are probably dialed into this. Again, it's one of those things people don't seem to understand that, yes, Trump was spied on with all this technology, but that spying can go both ways. They still haven't changed a lot of these laws that exist. So I think we know a lot more than they claim. Again, it's one of those things we need people to see how crazy it is. We need people to realize this Antifa group is running around causing all sorts of problems, damage to everybody in every way they can. Not an acceptable group. And certainly donating to them and donating to Biden. And then when you donate to Black Lives Matter and it goes to Act Blue and goes to the Democratic National Party or convention or whatever, committee, whoever the hell they are, you're not helping the situation at all. This is one of those places where we need to stand together as Americans, as we the people. Again, as we always say, where we go one, We go all. Be good to one another. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.